Welcome to the With Series Potential podcast, where we share our journeys breaking into TradPub, how we're leveling up our craft to get there, and spill all the publishing tea along the way.
Hi, I'm Anna Hirsch, writing horror novels.
I'm Ivy T. Woods. I write romantic fantasy.
And I'm Zilla, writing as RJ Hawthorne, and I am also a horror author.
Welcome to episode 5 of the With Series Potential podcast. So this week our main topic of the day is reading the tea leaves in publishing. So going through our emails and trying to discern some type of meaning from the nonsense and the forms and the craziness. So let's start with what we are working on this week. Anna, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantabulous. Thank you for asking. I am preparing for perhaps another call with somebody who may want to try to sell my book. So
they definitely want to sell your book.
Exciting stuff happening. Oh, I hope they want money. I also would like money.
Who
please.
doesn't want free money?
Free money. Yeah. That's all why we get into publishing. The promises of free money. Famously, no work involved. But yeah, that's exciting. I am almost done with my vague period. My deadline is Friday, so it's really coming down to the wire. But I am just excited to be done with this. I'm excited to make a decision and kind of settle into being agented.
I'm excited to see you this weekend, and like when you have that, you know, in your head, it's like, wow.
When it's done.
Yeah, and like that crash after.
Go insane. Yeah, well, I'm very excited. I forget if I told you guys, but I bought caviar because I've always wanted to eat caviar, and I was like, I'm gonna open it and eat it when I accept an offer, so I'm excited for that.
Do you champagne too, or just caviar?
I don't have champagne, but I do think I have like a random $25 gift card to the wine and spirit store left over from my engagement party 2 years ago. So I might just trot down and get myself a little prosecco to go with it. You know, nothing crazy.
Cute.
I really went ham on the caviar, so we're not going fancy with the champagne.
So what the hell have I been working on? I have been working on editing my book still. So that's been going pretty well. I think you guys will identify with it's always the beginning that needs the most work because you kind of have a better idea of what you're doing towards the end and you just kind of change it as you go. So let me see where I'm at actually on my checklist because I have a fun checklist because it makes me feel better to see the numbers going up. So for my single item checkboxes, I am 60.71% done.
Amazing.
For my chapters that I'm editing, I'm 34.29% done, which I'm almost done another chapter, which brings me to 46.03% done editing my book, but I'm done like 12 of 35-ish chapters, almost done 13. It's going. It's fine. There's no issues. Editing is a lot faster for me than drafting, so I'm hoping to have this done by the end of March. Hopefully have it done in time enough to do another kind of like final pass with the read aloud in Microsoft Word and just kind of find issues, and then it goes off to the beta readers / CPs.
So excited.
Zilla, how you doing?
Oh man, we are getting back into it finally. Things in my life seem to be settling down just a little bit, knock on wood. I have been stuck in this cycle of going through my third chapter. So I'll go through my third chapter and then I'll start my fourth and then I'll be like, no, something is still not working. So I'll go back to my third chapter, yada, yada, yada. So as you guys know, like I finally felt like I could share my third chapter and I just needed that gut check. So I posted it in our Discord and yada, yada, yada. But today...
I'm going to get to the third chapter. I've done the first two, but I'm going to get to the third.
The
I
third
promise.
no,
I'm excited for
no
it.
obligation. But like there is...
But I want to.
There's something like in my brain that's like, I need to make it perfect before I can even move on. And this is my first stab at it with my agent. So like perfect is like very, very far and, you know, impossible. But it's the same way when I draft. Like I cannot move on until something feels right. Or like I will go back and do an entire act of edits before I'll go into the next act. That's just kind of my process, which is frustrating, but it's just kind of how I do it. So we're hopefully going to work on the fourth chapter today.
Yeah, I so get that because I have to go back and do like not a dev edit, but like a pass to make the chapter pretty before I can move on. And I think part of that is because I have a lovely, wonderful friend who reads my chapters as I go because I love that dopamine hit of
Yep.
getting the comments on it where it's like, oh my God, this is happening. And kudos to her because like she's the only person that sees it that early. And it's probably not good at that point. But it's like it just gives the incentive to keep going. There is a
I
cat
was gonna say
right
I'm
behind
laughing
Hannah,
at
and
Anna's
I
cat in the background, just like living his best life with that.
He
hard.
keeps himself so entertained. He's got these little feather toys, and he'll just put it in his mouth and fling it around and then catch it.
So cute.
That's ideal. All right. But yeah, I believe you can do it. I will be getting to your third chapter today. I tried two last night, but I was tired, so I wanted to
Yeah,
go to bed and the baby
children.
had settled. So I will be getting to it. But yeah, hopefully I
Amazing.
can give you gut check that all good. And I feel like third chapters, it's like you've done the introduction thing and now you're starting to a little bit put the pedal to the metal.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just that shift that it's like you're changing gears in a standard car.
It's my
It can just
catalyst,
be a
so it
little
has to
tricky.
be
Yeah.
so intricate and it has to hit all the right notes. And
Hmm.
I had to cut a whole chapter to get this earlier. So it's like trying to figure
Yeah.
out how all those threads come together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping for you, your edit will get easier as you go
I hope so.
once,
Yeah.
certain characters are no longer in it.
I definitely feel
Yeah.
like that stage of edits that you're in is like what's hardest for me. It's like doing like the first round of edits after a rough draft. I'm like easy, I mean, not
Yep.
easy, but it's something that is feels really doable. At
It's already
points,
clicked in your head, right? Like,
exactly.
Hmm.
But
yeah.
then like
You've known what you want to do while you were finishing the draft.
exactly. But then when you're like, okay, I've already gotten this book seemingly perfect, and then you need to go back and do more edits, it's such like a mind fuck. And I felt like that doing edits for Smooch Pit, where
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
even though the edits weren't huge, I was like, these scenes are so locked into place in my brain that changing
Yep.
them feels impossible. So I'm definitely dreading that part for when I eventually do edits with whoever I sign with. So I feel you
It's
there.
gonna be great though. It's gonna be so good. That actually leads really perfectly into my leveling up. So if I can use you guys for this,
Please use me.
That's what she said.
Ivy, you've already kind of mentioned like you have someone who reads as you go. Now when does that start for you?
For me, I take a few attempts at a book before I lock into the one that's the one. So because I'm a plotter, this is going to be very different than it is for you guys. So I usually do a beat sheet and then I'll kind of go through and do like a scene by scene. And then I'll write like 20,000 words of it. It usually is around 20,000 words, and I've got the feel of it. It's not really sitting right. But I kind of know who my characters are a little bit more, and that kind of helps me with that outline. So then I'll go back to the outline. I'll adjust the beat sheet, I'll adjust the scene by scene so it's fitting more with that, and then I'll start over. Um, with Sculptor, I got to about 50,000 words in that, and then so much had changed that I was just like, F this. I went back to the outline, redid it, and then went in. And usually I know when it's the one is when I start dividing it into chapters. Because sometimes I will just write it as like because I have that outline. I'm like, okay, so I write this scene and then I write this scene and then I write this scene. Once I start putting it as chapter one, da 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 da, that's usually the one. So I'll draft it, I'll go back, I'll edit it once, and then I'll add it into my early readers document.
So I don't typically have somebody like read chapter by chapter as I'm finished, but usually I start sending bits over to like my critique group on the second draft. I will say that I've been sending them first draft material for Dracula, which is I didn't write Dracula, that was Bram Stoker. I'm writing a Dracula retelling, we call it that. So I'm sending first drafts of that project over to my critique group, and I have mixed feelings on whether or not I want to continue that because, on one hand, I'm feeling a lot more confident in my writing, and I feel like, okay, I know things are going to change, but like I want to get a vibe of like what's working or not. But on the other hand, I feel like it maybe is like getting in my head a little bit too much, and I can't tell if it's like the fact that I've started sharing a first draft and getting feedback on it, or if it's the fact that I'm in my vague period that is causing me to be unable to make progress on this. So we'll see. I have of course, another critique group meeting today where they'll be reading like the second big chunk of this project, which again is first draft. It's, I've done revisions on these chapters, so even though I'm still on the first draft of the book, I've had a few passes over that at this point, but still, because I am primarily a pantser, there's so much that's going to change, especially because it's a reality TV setting book. There's so many characters are going to change and combine, and all that kind of stuff. So, like, that's all going to be different, but we'll see if I decide to keep sharing first drafts or not. I don't know how I feel about it.
Well, you guys actually set me up perfectly for what I want to talk about for leveling up today, and it's knowing your process and advocating for what you need from other people. So I want to talk about positivity passes. I want to talk about gut checks. I want to talk about the actual critiques and when does that happen and what I'm doing for me. So as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I posted my first 3 chapters in the Discord that we're all in to get a gut check. I love Murder Night. It's my favorite book I've ever written. It's the book that got me my agent. And the edits that I got, or any of the feedback actually that I got from agents throughout this whole period, have made sense to me. Now, it didn't necessarily like click in my brain, here's how I'm going to do it, but for the most part, 90% of my feedback, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, I can do that. But when it came to actually writing it and changing it, I was like, am I just messing this up? Am I keeping the good stuff and getting rid of the bad stuff? Am I being overly cliche? Like, am I being overly emotional? Because I'm not emotional anyway, but like, where is the line between original and yeah, I am leveling this up? So I have been working on like 3 chapters for 2 months, which is not great for me. It's not typically my pace, but putting it in that Discord and putting myself out there and being like, I'm struggling, give me a gut check. I feel like writers need to know what they need in certain situations. Like Anna, you were talking about, I need that confidence to move on. When do you need that positivity pass to like keep that dopamine hit going? I personally like to do a snippet, right? It's usually after I've gone through drafting, writing a chapter, editing, revising it over and over again. And then I'll send like a little snippet and be like, look at me, like as people do. And then that'll give me dopamine to go on, right? So I think it's not just knowing what you need, but it's also articulating it to other people. And I feel like when I see newer writers looking for quote unquote critique partners, that's not always what they actually want. I have critiqued others who really fought me at every step. And it's never really been a fight for me. When I go into critiquing, it's, I want to know your goal, I want to know your motivation, I want to know the conflict, and I want to see, is your character believable? Is the plotline believable for me as a reader? I try really hard not to go into it as a writer until someone is like getting ready to query. And I make sure I ask them like, what are you looking for? Is there something specific? But for you to settle into your process, it might be kind of hard if you're only 1-2 books in to really know what you need at a certain time. Even for me, I thought about it this morning, like, Ivy, I was really nervous that I was not going to jive with what your suggestion was, and I'm so glad that I did. I've already added it. By the way, it's such a good suggestion.
And it was just like a small detail, and I feel like it would just add that little of tension, like.
Mm-hmm. But like, because I was struggling so hard, did I ask for the right thing?
Yeah.
And so I guess my leveling up today is really talking about, like, do you really know what you need when you're writing, when you're revising?
Mm-hmm.
So I'd love to ask you guys, like, do you ask for positivity passes? What are your CPs like? What do you ask of them? And what advice would you give to writers who are just not really sure?
So I think, like Zilla said, you have to know what you want. But you also need to keep your bigger goals in mind. Like, we all want to have people telling us our writing is great, but beyond that, it's like, we want to improve. We want to be able to write that good writing that makes people go, wow.
You should want to improve.
Yes. Well, we, the three of us on the podcast, and hopefully
Yes.
anybody who's listening to us, if you've made it this far, you're like looking for tools, you want to grow as a writer. So for that reason, I typically don't do positivity passes of larger sections of my work until I've edited it a lot. Because I don't want to feel like people are just blowing smoke. I don't like that feeling. I've like done positivity passes in the past with work that wasn't edited all the way, and it made me feel like, okay, like what things are they just not saying that they didn't like, you know? Yeah. So I really prefer to have the positivity pass when I'm like, I can't even see the forest through the trees anymore from how much I've edited this book, and I just need someone to tell me what's good so I can remember why I did it. I will share snippets. Like, I share snippets out the wazoo. I don't even edit them. I just write a paragraph, and I'm like, that was fire. Post.
And I gobble them up like candy.
But in terms of, like, chapters or, like, you know, anything larger like that, I'm not going to share an early draft for a positivity pass because it makes the compliments feel shallow. Yeah. I really prefer to just go straight for a critique. I have a thick skin, which I really got from working in advertising for 5 years, because I would get critiques all the time and not much positivity. So having the good with the bad really makes me recognize what I'm doing well so I can lean into it when I'm continuing my revisions. And then also it makes me aware of my weaknesses so I can improve on that and helps hone my instincts and all that stuff. So that's kind of my process, is critique first, positivity later.
Yeah. So for me, I do send those chapters to my friend as I draft them / edit them. And that's like, she's not a writer, she's just a reader. And she's just there as a hype person. Her job is to give me the dopamine and an extra little, I'm pretty self-motivated, but it's just that extra little touch of motivation to be like, okay, she's waiting for the next chapter, she's excited for the next chapter, I need to write and edit the next chapter. She is the only person I do that for, and like, she's just an early reader, and I do not send her unpolished crap. Like, I go through and I do make sure it is, like, I draft pretty clean, and then I give it a final once over as well. Sometimes I will be drafting and something changes, and I'll just like message her and let her know that something has changed, and to continue on, she should assume that this is the thing. That was less of a thing for Sculptor than it was for Undying Summer, but that's where we're at. So for me, I definitely post snippets for dopamine hits. It's always fun to make Chase squirm with some horror-y stuff.
Hey Chase, queen of snippets, or king of snippets. Queen was just on the tip of my tongue because it's normally girls in publishing.
She's the only one that sees it at that stage. This time I also shared with her all the editing changes I was planning on making so she could see it. She's like, these all make sense to me. This is super reasonable. I've also shared with her not the synopsis, but the outline that I have for book 2, and she's like, oh my god. So that's just, again, dopamine hits galore. So she's not going through and critiquing. If she has questions, she'll ask them, and then I go, okay, this thing isn't making sense, I should clarify that. But she's not going through and being like, oh, your character seems kind of flat here, because that's not the type of person she is for that. She is not really a critique partner, she's just a reader. So once I've done that, I know what's happening with my book, and I know what I want to change, and I'm like, nobody is allowed to look at this until it's perfect, until I can make it as good as it possibly can. I really do not understand people who do alpha reads. I don't know why you would willingly ever send that to somebody, and like, to each their own, no judgment, but that's just not how I'm built. I need to make my book as shiny and beautiful as I can possibly make it on my own before I send it to anyone else, because if there's something wrong with it, that's a personal thing on my part.
Yep,
yeah. Like, I found with beta reads or critique partner reads for my first book, some people were reading faster than others. So when the feedback comes in, you read it, and you're like, oh my god, this part's terrible, I'm going to cut this part entirely. No, I am embarrassed I sent you this, because this is obvious.
I think I feel similar to the two of you. Like, I like a gut check, don't get me wrong. Like, is this starting correctly? Sometimes I need that, like, for my whip that's not the revision I'm working on right now. Like, it started in a psychiatrist's office, And I was like, I don't know if there's enough tension here. I don't know if it makes sense from a psychiatry point of view. So I did get an alpha read on that from one of my CPs, but I will say I only have 2 CPs, and everybody else, like, sorry, you're either a gut check or you're a positivity, because that's just like that's just what I need right now. And obviously that can change because my 2 CPs don't write horror. So I probably will need to transition at some point, but right now, like, this is what's working for me. But yeah, I love a gut check in the beginning to make sure, like, I'm on the right path. And then, like Anna said earlier, like, the closer I get to building up that confidence, the less I need any of that dopamine. So, like, I'll just share, like, snippets or, like, brainstorm things, like, randomly. But once I get through what I feel is, like, super polished, I typically only do 3 drafts. I know that's wild, but my first drafting stage can go through so many iterations. I just count it all as 1 draft because I'm not going to keep up with all the halvesies and whatever. And then I just want to put one thing out there, is that if someone is asking you to critique something that they're either getting ready to query or have already queried out, you really, really, really need to ask them if they're serious. Because I have been asked if someone could read my book, and it's like, sure, like, sounds great. And then they started giving me critique on something that I was, like, halfway through querying, and I'm like, girl, no, like, we're not doing this right now. Like, it's out, like, it's running its best life here, like, can't do it. And that was specifically me referencing my second book, but I really think you just have to know what you need and what's going to push you. And like Anna said earlier, like, what is your goal? Because if it is just validation, like, that's fine, but know that you're not going to be stretching yourself, challenging yourself, and maybe you're not going to know if you're sending your best work out there.
I think it goes the other way too, where you need to know what you are capable of as a reader.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I suck at positivity passes. Like, because especially if it needs a lot of cooking, it's like you're just fishing for things. And
Yep.
I'm like, I don't like this. I wouldn't keep reading this, but here, let me throw in a random compliment on it. And like, I feel like it sounds fake. But like, everybody has different strengths. So like, I'm a teacher, so I'm used to redlining essays. So I'm really good at like line editing kind of stuff and phrasing. And then kind of after the fact, I can usually find some developmental issues that are kind of larger, or things that weren't working for me, and maybe figure out how those go. But like, on a scene level, I'm honestly not great. But like, if somebody just needs a positivity pass, I'm not the one to go to.
Yeah. Anna, what would you say your niche is?
I'm definitely strong with pacing and like large structural plot things, and so that's usually the kind of thing that I'll be able to point out if I'm doing a beta read or just like other full manuscript pass for somebody.
Remind me to send you mine before I send it back to my agent.
Please, because I haven't read the whole thing yet and I need my turn, so that would be perfect. So that's my strength. I'm also strong on the line level, but I tend not to focus on it because it takes too long, and I'm a slow reader and critiquer, so I'd rather just like spend my time on the bigger stuff. Although I will point things out if they're really bugging me, or if it's easy to just be like, comma. Things that are weaknesses for me, I would say, are, like character motivation a lot of the time. I'm just like really gullible, so if a character says something, I'm like, I believe that they would do that. So I'm really not like the best person to ask. Sometimes I will notice these things if they stick out to me, but I'm not great at it. I'm not great at consistency. I don't remember people's names or their hair color or like the name of the 7 kingdoms of the land. So yeah, I'm just gonna believe whatever you put down. But yeah, structure and pacing I am good at.
Amazing. And I'll say I am the worst at a beta read. I don't have the time to sit down and read a full book and critique it. I just don't. I am typically like your brainstormer, your problem solver. And I do catch those character motivations if you send me like a chapter or like 3 chapters. But long long stretches of things, I can't do it. I don't have the time, and I can't read on a screen for that long.
I also think an important thing is like the level of comments that you're putting in. I know some people love to be really thorough with their beta reads. I just can't do that. If I'm critiquing a smaller chunk, like less than 10,000 words, then absolutely I'll leave a lot of inline comments. For a beta read, I might like leave more at the beginning, like the first 30 pages, but then after that, I'm just trying to read it at a fast clip and give my overall impressions as a reader, because that's the point anyways. And if I left more comments than that, I would just never get through it. And I actually do enjoy doing beta reads, but they take me like 2 weeks to a month, even doing it fast.
Yeah. For me, when I'm doing it, I try to leave comments with like some of my predictions and guesses,
Oh, I love that.
because that can tell the reader, or sorry, the writer, like kind of where the reader brain is at as they go. So I try to leave those just as like a flash into reader brain. But if I am having a beta read, or you're going through my comments on a beta read and there's like 2 chapters of nothing, that's because I forgot it was a beta read and I was just reading it like a book. I haven't found an issue to take me out of this is a book. So like the biggest compliment for me as a reader is stretches of nothing.
Love.
Like the less comments I have, the better. Like that means it's good. And I feel like I was pretty light on the comments for both of you.
Yeah,
because your books.
I'm the same way. Like, if I'm enjoying reading it and there's nothing wrong with it, I don't really want to slow down and just like pat someone on the back. Like, that's not what I'm there for. But yeah, I will leave the comments like, I hate this guy. Oh, I think this person's gonna die. I was bored in this section. Just like general reader comments. Sometimes I will try to give a solution because I can't help it. But and then I'll get, if I think of something like, hey, I noticed like your Act 2A felt really slow, then that might be a comment that I add that's more overarching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess to wrap this up, I want to make sure that what I'm doing and what I'm, trying to articulate here is kind of sit down with yourself and figure out, how do you communicate what you want when you want it and to the right people. And that means you have to know yourself and be completely honest, but you also have to know the people that you're sharing with and try to get them to be as honest with you as possible as well. So yeah, we're gonna level up by kind of continuing with that gut check that I put in my Discord, and then move on to hopefully the rest of Act 1. Jesus Christ, it's taking forever, but yeah, that's where I am.
Well, beginnings are also my kryptonite, so I feel you there.
And like, if you are a new writer or a new reader, you might not know what you need right now, or what you are capable of doing. I think you need, like, as a reader, you need to do a whole bunch of beta reads in order to know what you are good at. And same thing with a writer. You need to know, or do this a few times, to know what you need in that moment and what you're capable of. Because there are some people who will get all up in their feely feels. Like, I did my style normal beta read where it was like the intense line editing and also like pointing out all the problems I saw, and I almost made somebody quit writing.
Yeah.
And that was one of the first beta reads I did, and that was a mismatch. Like, she did not need what I was able to give at that point, and that's the kind of thing. So, but it might take some time for you to learn what you need and what you are capable of.
And it's on you to decide what feedback you want to take. I think any feedback you're getting, even if it's from like your most trusted critique partner of 20 years, like, you need to be able to check it against your own instincts. I like to get feedback from a lot of different places, which to some people is like too many cooks in the kitchen, but I am a pro at ignoring feedback I don't like. So I will like take what resonates. Sometimes somebody will point out like a perceived problem with my manuscript and it just doesn't sit right with me. And sometimes that...
It's a personal taste.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just like, no, you didn't get it. Sometimes I think about it more and I'm like, oh, that is something I do really need to change. Sometimes I go back and look and I'm like, no, actually, I did that thing very well. I think they just didn't read it correctly. So getting feedback, it's also on the feedback recipient to decide whether or not to take it.
Absolutely.
You have to filter it all. And I think that does help with having more readers, is you can get like a majority. So if you see that a lot of people are confused by a thing, then it's like, okay, that problem is on me. Whereas if one person is confused by that thing, it's like, maybe you just didn't sleep well last night, now you're tired.
Exactly.
So I think that brings us into our main topic for the day. Anna, this is all you.
Yes, so we are talking all about reading the tea leaves. And this is, I mean, I think you can apply this to any stage of the publishing process, but we're really specifically going to talk about querying and all of the different ways that we can try to read into the tiny bits of information that we get from agents, and divine meaning from them, even when there is none to be had. So, first off, like, a couple things I want to state. Is this required in order to succeed at querying? No. Is it healthy? No. Do we all do it? Yes.
So maybe we should talk about Query Tracker and like how we use it and
Yes.
how much it costs.
Yes. Zilla, I'm getting there. I have a whole outline.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't even know why I assumed that you didn't have an outline. I'm so sorry.
She's
Continue.
the most organized of us
You're
all.
right.
Just...
You and I show up with vibes, and Anna shows up with like a full essay.
I'm all vibes all the time. It's cool.
So, fortunately, you're great at predicting my outline. So I wanted to talk about a few different divination methods, so to speak, of reading said tea leaves.
This is so fun. Let me get my tarot cards.
Okay, tarot cards, as an aside, is something I use a lot. When I was working on my Smooch Pit edits and preparing to query and starting to query, I did a tarot draw. Ooh, temperance. Slay.
I feel like that's so good for this
Yeah,
episode.
good vibes. I did a tarot reading for myself every single day, and I was like really holding on to those tower cards. I can't speak. I kept pulling the tower, and I was like, oh, I gotta break myself down to build myself back up again. So literally reading the tea leaves there. Okay, but back to my regularly planned outline. Query Tracker is, if you're not familiar, it's a website that is used to kind of combine all of people's data from Query Manager, which is the platform that a lot of agents use to receive queries. Query Tracker uses data from Query Manager. You can also submit data if you're querying agents who accept them via email or other methods. So there's a lot on there for querying writers to drive themselves crazy with. Query Tracker Premium.
I pulled it again.
Wow,
I'm so sorry.
okay. Zilla pulled the temperance card twice, so that's telling us something.
Moderation.
I use a different...
Moderation.
Yeah. Moderation? Okay. I use a different deck
gross.
than you.
Ew.
Moderation. I'm already on my second cup of coffee.
That's my standards, 2 cups of coffee.
I mean, same, but usually I wait until a little bit later in the morning to have my second one.
I don't drink coffee.
And that's insane. That's the real horror story
I didn't
right there.
before I had kids.
I have drank coffee every day since, like, freshman year of high school. Back on Query Tracker. Query Tracker has a free level that anyone can use to track your data, but if you want to drive yourself crazy and see even more data, you can pay for Query Tracker Premium. I think it's $25 for the year, so it's relatively affordable. And basically, this allows you to see a bunch of different features, including, I think, the timeline is a Query Tracker Premium feature, and that allows you to see, like, all of the queries that an agent has sent, that an agent has received in a row, and they have little icons to show if they've been rejected, or if the agent has requested a full, or made an offer of representation. So you can kind of see where you are in line. You can see if you've been skipped, so to speak, by an agent, if they answered all the other queries around you, but not you. Lots of stuff like that. What are the other Query Tracker features, like whether they're premium or free, that you guys use to read your tea leaves?
I never really used Query Tracker when I had it for free. Basically, as soon as I started querying, I got premium, so
Same.
I don't fully know what free would entail. I know a lot of people go into the comments and people will post the rejections they got from agents, so you can check and see if the rejection you got was a form, part of reading the tea leaves, or if it was personalized. Because if you haven't started querying, most agents are incredibly pressed for time, so their default, this is built into Query Manager, is they have various forms they can use. So they can just reject you with a certain form and saying, okay, this thing. And if they're saying, I just didn't connect with the voice or whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that they actually hate the voice that you write in if that is their go-to form. It can just be what they say to reject all the girls, um, kind of thing. So comments, I know, is a thing. I know you can use it to see agent statistics, so their response rates, how often they respond, how quickly or how slowly they respond, both for requests and rejections, things like that as well. So I know for me, that was how I made my list of quick responders for my first round of queries.
There is also, this is a premium option, but there is a feature where you can see which agents are similar. So if I got a request from one agent, I could look at that list and be like, okay, well, this agent is likely to request me too, right? And
yeah, they tend to request the same manuscripts.
Yeah, and it's like that to me is kind of a big jump too. I mean, all of this is kind of a big jump. We don't know really what's going on in the background. Most of this is self-reported. But yeah, Anna, there's so many different features for Query Tracker, whether you are free or whether you're premium. And it's cheap, so I don't see why people don't use it.
I think the main reason not to use it is if you have healthy boundaries and protect your sanity.
I'm sorry, I don't understand those.
Yeah, I'm like, why wouldn't I want one more thing to obsess over and torture myself with? Again, it's important to keep in mind, like Zilla said, this is all, or for the most part, it's self-reported. If queries are done through Query Manager, they are often auto-tracked. So, like, if an agent rejects you, it'll automatically mark as a rejection. But you can still go in and, like, override that and, mark something as a full if they, like, reached out via email after you had queried them.
And you can submit through Query Manager without having a Query Tracker account.
Yeah, that's also true.
Those just don't get reported.
Yep. And you could also say, like, I'm writing horror and it's 200,000 words, but that might not be what you sent the agent. That's just what's on your profile for that project.
Exactly, because for every project that you're sending out, you set up a little profile that's like, this is the name, this is the genre, this is the word category, and that's all just for, like, your own and Query Tracker tracking purposes. Whatever the agent sees is what you put in the form. So, for example, I remember a bunch of us were speculating this fall because we saw that
a 200,000 word erotica.
Yes, 200k erotica had reported multiple offers. People saw on multiple agents' pages that they had offered on a 200,000 word erotica book, which begs the question.
It's all in, like, the same day.
Yes. Was this book actually 200k erotica, or was it a normal book that someone put as 200k erotica as a joke? Hilarious.
And did they actually get all those requests, or did they just report them because they were having mental break?
Exactly. Who knows? It's a lot of fun to speculate.
If this was you, our listener, please reach out to us.
Yes.
Oh gosh, I need to
We were going off on this in multiple Discords.
200k erotica. I'm a big fan. Send me your book for research methods. I want to read your erotica. Just kidding. Am I?
Cut that.
Okay. Do not send us your 200k erotica unless you are a Jacqueline Carey, in which case please send it to me. Okay, there also can be outliers. Like, you might look at an agent who normally takes a couple months to request and see that they requested something really fast. That's often because somebody, like, reported an offer and it bumped them to the top of the line. So you will see little blips like that, and there's all sorts of weird situations that people might be in. I found myself in a lot of weird situations with doing a mentorship, and then my query just kind of sat there unanswered for a while because I told agents, hold on, I'm doing this mentorship, and then I went back to them. So there's all sorts of reasons why an agent might be responding to something sooner or way longer than somebody else.
And if you're obsessed and crazy enough, you can notice when, like, if you're looking at multiple agent profiles, you might see that they request something that's like the same category. So it might be like fantasy 100 to 109, and you notice multiple agents request that. And you're like, oh, that person got an offer. Oh, and you see like one agent made an offer on it because you can see the purple smiley face, and then you see it get requested by a bunch of other people, and you're like, I know what happened here.
It's like I was following that 79K horror forever, and then I found out who it was. And I'm like, I love you, but also you're my competition. You know?
I know.
I've been following you.
I was wondering if anyone was like noticing that with me because I got a lot of requests after I reported my offer.
Yeah, you have like a 20-25% request rate. It's bonkers.
Yeah, I have a 25% request rate.
Because this is the book.
I think after Smooch Pit, it was 50%, which is like most of my rejections were from before I did the mentorship.
Incredible.
So yeah, I'll have to look at the actual stats later, but I feel like really lucky with how everything's worked out.
He's an overachiever. Do not measure yourself to her, dear listeners.
We're all writers, which means we're overachievers by default. So if you're listening to this podcast, congrats and go take a nap or something.
Or go write your book if you're a procrastinator.
Yeah, go write your book. Stop listening to us. Get back on Scrivener.
No, finish listening to us and then go write your book. Because we're going to play a game. It's gonna be fun.
We're going to play a game. Okay. Was there anything else we wanted to chat about in regards to Query Tracker and that method of divining?
Not Query Tracker, no.
The only thing I want to say about Query Tracker is I do not personally... I feel like the hardest thing to actually get right is like, oh, I've been skipped. I think I find less credit in those divinations than maybe other things, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe piles are nonsense. I think it depends on the agent, because you can see agent patterns. So it might be that they just do a first pass where they eliminate everything that they're like, this is not for me, and then they go through and they may probably read pages or whatever and make requests off that. That one, I think you can make a little bit more of a divination on, but sometimes it's just... I had a whole thing with when Lucienne Diver opened her thing up. I was one of the first people to request, and then Query Tracker glitched and moved me, or not to request, to submit, and I was on the first page, and then a few days later Query Tracker glitched and I was moved to the second page, but after she rejected me I was back in my first spot. So like, don't put too much into the timeline. It's kind of a glitchy website.
Yep, and I've also heard that if you send a nudge on Query Tracker or Query Manager, like if you go in and you send a message to the agent saying like, hey, I have editor interest, or I'm doing a mentorship, or whatever you say, it bumps you up to the top, so it can kind of like mess with the order in which they're seeing the queries. Zilla's shaking her head. She's like, you're full of shit. Okay.
The only reason I'm shaking my head is because when I've been reading on Query Manager, I have not seen them pop up to the top. What I think might be happening there is agents have a filtering option, like those with messages. So if you're messaging through Query Tracker, like you can filter there and it'll give you like a little orange and then, you know, filter appropriately. So I guess it really just depends on what the agent does when they go into their slush pile. For me, like I didn't typically use that filter because I just went in order or by genre depending on my mood for the day, but again, it's reading the tea leaves, so like you just have to kind of guess.
Okay, I don't know where I saw that. It was probably from a TikTok or something, so I'm just spreading misinformation, and...
Zilla's our inside man. She's seen it from the other side.
She has seen the cute Query Manager side, and which I'm sure is a whole
cute.
different beast. Alright, so moving on from Query Tracker, which is where most people, I think, are reading their tea leaves, the next place I want to talk about is social media and vague posting. And I'm not talking about the kind of vague posting where an author is vague. I'm talking about when agents are like, ooh, the full I just got in my inbox right now, and kind
my
of...
favorite posts. I love them.
Oh, I hate those.
I gobble them up like terrible, terrible drugs. I'm obsessed.
You know, I think the reason I don't like it is because I don't think anyone's ever done it about me, but I've never, like, had an agent request a full and then, like, gone to their profile and seen them, like, post anything shady, so... Can I
just go off on a tangent, and you guys are gonna know who it is exactly, but I'm not gonna say names. I had an agent who requested me within 3 days of me starting querying. And I was the longest person in her inbox, And every month she would post like, you know, I'm getting so close to offering, or like, I'm getting ready to send out some fun emails. And I'm like, I'm going to get an email. For months this happened. I ended up going for like almost 7 months. And this nice lady, because I actually do think she's a great agent, she formed me. She was like, I read this weekend, and then form. And I'm like, cool, so you didn't actually, like, I wasn't even read when I submitted. It's fine, it's cool, it's whatever. I'm not bitter, but I think about it.
You can be bitter, it's fine. I'm bitter.
I ate up those posts, though, every time. Ate them up.
Yeah.
They just bring you that little bit of hope.
Dopamine.
Yeah, I don't know if any agents that requested my full were like super social media-y agents. So, although you pointed out that Kira had a Twitter and I went and stalked it, and there was some stuff about reading fulls the weekend after she requested my fulls.
Okay.
Cute.
Yes. I think I remember like seeing that post like right after you got an offer, and I was like, oh, I know who that's about.
It's me, Mario.
But yeah, that's obviously like kind of a step above the query tracker data, because it's the agent saying something in their own words, and then you just have to guesstimate.
Massive stalking that follows.
You can combine divination methods for a more accurate reading. You know, we will pull qualifiers, clarifiers, whatever he says, referencing
Qualifiers.
our favorite astrology, Jimmy. Shout out, Jimmy. We love you. Thank you for giving us hope. And then destroying it.
Yep.
So you can go back and look and be like, what other fulls has this agent requested? Sometimes agents request a ton of fulls. Some agents request like 4 fulls a year. Like everyone's kind of different in terms of like.
And you can see that percentage if you have Query Tracker Premium.
Yep, you can see the percentage, and you can go through and see like, oh, they requested a 100,000 word fantasy yesterday. They requested a 60,000 word short story collection. Like you can see all the data.
Thing I would encourage our stalkers to explore is the Data Explorer page rather than just the Query Timeline.
I'm all over that Data Explorer page. And you have to make sure that the date of like when the query was sent is 2 years, because sometimes if you have the day that the query was sent is only like last 30 days, it's not going to show up if an agent say rejected a really old query. So if you want to take your stalking to the next level, just be thorough. We love to stalk.
You got to set your parameters well. You got to set your parameters.
Guys, I'm getting like nostalgic that I'm going to be done with query tracker stalking in just a few days. Like
I know, right? I missed it. I had a hankering bad.
It's like senioritis.
After I was done.
Like, man, it wasn't that bad.
I do want to make one maybe like point of just something to think about. UK agents and agencies might act a little bit different. A lot of them are more email based and less query tracker based. So from my own experience, I found that agents who wanted emails instead of everything through Query Manager, I kind of took everything as a little bit less reliable in terms of reading the tea leaves.
Especially if they take a long time to reply, because I had several agents for my first book that I didn't really expect a reply from, because their reported reply rate to their email queries was like 10% or something, but then I did end up getting a reply like 6 months later. So I think it's that if you're getting a reply 6 months later, you're probably like, I'm not, going into Query Tracker to report this,
Yep. No, I definitely agree with that. Is if it's email, it's nothing. It's not accurate at all.
So that kind of leads really nicely into my next divination method, which is whisper networks / general knowledge of agents' preferences and behavior. So this can include something like, they're in the UK, they're probably only going to respond if you tell them that you have other requests or an offer. This can go into saying like, oh, I know so-and-so usually responds super fast, so if they don't respond right away, it means they're probably interested in it. There's all sorts of different ins and outs and quirks that different agents and agencies have. So I was wondering if either of you had any examples that come to mind.
Without naming a specific agent name, there is an agent that very famously, if she is going to request you, she will request in 2 weeks. And if you do not get requested from her in 2 weeks, you can pretty much write it off. I think the longest she ever went, when you check the stats, is like 8 days or something.
Yep. I know exactly who that is too.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's like for those things, and there's some who will say that, like
Mhm.
there's one agent who is the head of her agency and she says 2 weeks, but she also has assistants going through and things like that as well. But there's one agent where the agency does not say that, but she will request in 2 weeks if she wants you.
Yeah, and some of this, like, you can figure out just from, like, searching around on the internet or on Query Tracker. Some of this is a little bit more like you need to be in the know, a little bit more inside baseball. But there's kind of endless
Yep.
nuances to this.
Agents, we're sorry we stalk you.
Yeah.
I will say that my writing isn't typically loved by UK agents. I just like I'm not as I guess literary is what I would call it. I feel like they really like more literary things. So in order to get my UK request, I had to have other requests to then nudge them. So I guess like that would be my example is just like nudges that make a lot of difference for UK agents where I think I can only think of 3 US agents who even care about nudges.
Yeah, I don't think I got any UK requests without me also nudging them or like letting them know, hey, at the time of me querying you, I have X full requests.
Yeah.
I think it also helps. Like, I did have a number of requests from UK agents. My book is set in the UK, and I do have that more literary writing. But yeah, most UK agents are not going to respond to authors outside of the UK unless they have a good reason to.
Yep.
So that brings me to the last method of divination, which will lead into our game, and that is like actual agent interactions. DMs with agents, responses from agents that you get on your query.
Are we counting pitch events in this?
I didn't have it written down, but I think that's a great one as well. Like I've never done a pitch event.
I think I meant social media pitch events.
Yes, that's now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, yes, that is what you meant. I've done those, but also like in person too is a thing.
Yeah. I mean, I have a whole other opinion about in-person pitch events, but you know.
Yeah. I think that'll be for a different episode.
Yeah.
So this is like obviously the most direct way because you can have an agent saying something that you know specifically applies to your book, but it can also be the most mysterious. For authors who are new to querying, form rejections can really get you because agents are often really good at making their form rejections sound personalized when they actually aren't. I personally love a form rejection that's just like, not for me, thanks.
Yep.
Because it's like, why put on airs when you're just clicking a button? But yeah, some form rejections, and I'm sure we'll see some examples of this in our game, might seem at first glance like they read your book, but they actually didn't. There can be tiered forms, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later too. But before we get into our game, like I wanted to open this up for discussion. Do you guys want to talk about some of like the different agent interactions? Do we want to save that for the game? Have at it.
I think we could talk a little bit more vaguely about it.
Yes.
Like there is a difference between someone sliding into your DMs versus just a like on a pitch event, and then versus like a comment, because I feel like all 3 of those have very different weight to them.
Absolutely.
And then again, depending on who the agent is, like does this agent show up in every pitch event? Then it's like, cool, I'll just send it along. Or does this agent not at all, you know, put themselves out there on social media and it's like, I may want to pay attention to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you do enough pitch events, you'll notice the same agents over and over attending them. Whether it's from just kind of getting the same likes over and over, that's what I felt like was happening to me. Like the last 3 pitch events I did, I kept getting the same likes from agents who had already liked it. So, I mean, it's flattering, but I was kind of feeling like there's nothing more for me to do here. You'll see the same agents kind of posting that they're participating in it. So yeah, some agents are like all over it and they're requesting to be queried with a ton of books from pitch events. Some agents might go in and like one or two posts. You can't really know how many posts they've liked, at least on Twitter. There's kind of a workaround for it on Blue Sky, but that's something that you can divine a little bit about.
I would just agree that I prefer, particularly if it's a form rejection, I prefer the ones that are clear, concise. I think the best one is not for me, but thanks for the look.
Yep.
Iconic.
Yeah. And it's like, that one's just on a query. It's not even on material. I would rather have that than have somebody try to make it sound personal who hasn't actually read it. And I don't want you to say, but the voice just wasn't there, when it potentially wasn't a voice issue, because you're going to send writers into a little spiral, particularly if they're little baby writers and they don't know what to form, and they're going to start going, oh my God, is my voice shit? Is my writing bad? And I would much rather you just say, sorry, not for me, thanks, than try to make it sound personal and potentially give somebody bad advice.
Or there is the infamous form rejection that I think you both are going to know who I'm talking about, and I'm sure some people listening are going to know as well, that is a form sent to everyone that tells you to rewrite your query because your query is not working.
I started that one to share today.
Okay, fabulous. We'll get to it. Yeah, I think that's a great time to get into our game because we're going to see lots of different examples of reading the tea leaves with agent interactions. How this is going to work is we've each prepared like a handful of different examples that have happened to us, and we're going to have the other co-hosts guess either like what the outcome was or whether it was tiered or formed.
We'll read the tea leaves.
Yeah, we'll read the tea leaves. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to open where I post it in the channel, but I don't want you guys to click and read at this point. The first one I'm going to read is really the only one I don't want you to click on, and it's actually the first two images together. You guys are probably going to know who it is just from me reading it. Okay, so this was a DM sent to me on Twitter on August 12th, 2025.
I already know.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
It says, hi, Anna. I'm really intrigued by the pitch of the Banshee of Clan Murtaugh. If you feel we're a good fit, I would absolutely love to read more when it's query ready. Good luck with the finishing touches either way. So this was an agent who reached out to me because they saw that I'd posted my agent's guide on Twitter when I was preparing to query. And then a month later, I said, hey, agent, I hope you're having a lovely day. I wanted to let you know this book has just landed in your inbox, just kind of giving them a heads up since we had that direct line of communication. They said, hi, Anna, I just found it in my inbox. Thank you for the update. I cannot wait to dive in. Congrats on finishing it. And then 2 days later, I had received editor interest on social media, which didn't end up panning out into anything, but whatever. And so I reached out to all the agents I queried and let them know. So I DM'd this agent and said, hi, agent, I hope you're having a fabulous Wednesday. I wanted to update you that the Banshee of Clan Murtaugh has received interest from editor at press. They said, hi, Anna. First off, congratulations. Thank you for letting me know. I'm planning to review your query this afternoon, so I'll be in touch with your query manager shortly. That was September 17th, 2025. Do you want to take a gander at what happened?
Man, until your offer nudge.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say full request after an offer nudge.
So because I got into the mentorship, I had to withdraw this query, so I don't have screenshots of that, but I ended up later on letting the agent know I'm going to pull it to revise. I'm going to send it back to you when I'm done. So then I sent it back to the agent, and I didn't get anything. I saw that she skipped me in the query tracker data. I feel comfortable revealing the gender because there's a lot of, that's all it is.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, maybe she's thinking about requesting, finally. So then when I got the offer, I sent an offer nudge. Didn't hear anything for a week. I sent my follow-up offer nudge, and then I got a message basically saying, thank you for sending this to me again. I have to withdraw because of time constraints.
No.
Because of time constraints. When those original
that.
messages were back in August and September, so truly, you can't always read into it when an agent says they're excited to read your project. Sometimes they aren't as eager to hop on it as they say.
This afternoon.
This
afternoon, she said.
This afternoon. In September, to be fair. Moving on to the next one. Yeah, you know exactly who it is. You can see it in the screenshots. Moving on to the next one, you can open up. So this next one, it says, Dear Anna, thank you so much for letting me know. This was sent to the agent. I had sent her an offer nudge, and she already had my full request. So she said, Dear Anna, thanks so much for letting me know that you had an offer. I dipped in over the weekend, and I'm really enjoying it. I'll be sure to read by your deadline. If you're comfortable sharing, would you please let me know the name of the offering agent? Thanks so much, and be back to you soon. So again, this was an agent who had my full, and then I nudged her with an offer. What do you think happened?
Nothing.
You put the agency name in your offer nudge, but not the agent, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't put...
Or did you put nothing?
I put nothing. And then I would say maybe half a dozen agents asked me who the offering agent was.
Oh, that's way more than what I got.
So yeah, agent making sure was an actual offer slash. I think the agents just are curious about
I
knowing
would be.
who is competing
Yeah.
for the same manuscripts
I
as
think
them,
so too.
which like I get. It's hard to read the tea leaves because I'm pretty sure I know who this is and what happened.
Mm-hmm.
She stepped aside, right?
Yes, she said she sent me a very, very nice rejection that was basically like, I really love this, but it's not a fit for my list this year. So
Yeah.
again, an agent can be really enjoying it and like really love something, so to speak, and it's
Mhm.
still not right. I've got a lot of glowing rejections after my offer nudge, which are kind of the worst.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, it was almost there, but it's just they don't love it quite enough to fight for it, or they're like, okay, well, somebody clearly loves this enough that I think they feel less bad about stepping aside because they're like, this person's taken care of no matter. So
Yeah. So my next one you can click into, and this is a two-part question. The first question is, what kind of response do you think this is? And I'll read it aloud. Hi, Anna. Thank you so much for querying me. I really appreciate you sharing your work with me and wish you all the best in your publishing journey. Unfortunately, I don't think I'm the best fit for the Banshee of Clan Murtaugh. I am confident there is an agent out there who will be a better advocate for your career, but it was a pleasure to read and consider your work. Publishing is extremely subjective, so don't be discouraged. Best of luck. I'll be rooting for you. So this was on a query, not a submission. What kind of response is this?
Form.
that's a form.
Yes.
Form.
This is the formiest of forms, nothing personalized at all, even though it was very polite. What else do you think happened?
They liked another pitch from you later. I don't know. It could be anything.
Ivy, any guesses?
I'm gonna go with what Zilla said.
You are absolutely correct. This rejection was from before I did the mentorship, a very fast form rejection, and after I completed the mentorship, I posted my agent's guide. This same agent slid into my DMs wanting me to query her, and then she requested the full, and she still has it, so we'll see what happens.
I thought it
She
might
did get
be
back
her.
to you and
Yeah.
say she'd get back by the deadline, though.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
I think.
Yep, she'll get back to me. We've got a couple days. Okay, next one. Same as the previous. This is a response on a query, not a submission, and I want you to guess what kind of response it was. Dear Anna, thank you so much for submitting The Banshee of Clan Murtaugh, which I've now had the chance to read. Your talent as a writer is obvious in these opening pages. However, I never found that editorial spark while reading that makes me feel like the right champion for a project. Because of this, I'm stepping aside here in the hopes the story finds the passionate representation it deserves. Thank you for the opportunity to consider The Banshee of Clan Murtaugh, and I wish you all the best in your publishing journey.
Tiered form.
Yep. It's a tiered form. I'm pretty sure it's a tiered form because I had queried this agent with my first book, and I got a much briefer rejection that was addressed from the whole agency and not from the agent. But if you look in this...
Those ones are rough.
Yeah, it was just like, this is not right for the agency, thanks. So this one...
You suck. See you later.
Yeah, when I first got this one, I was like, oh, she actually read it. This is different. But then I did go look at this agent's query tracker comments, and yeah, it appears to be either a tiered form or she just changed her form rejection.
You're not contacting me or my son ever again kind of energy for the agency rejection.
Okay, last one you can click into. It's a little vague. I don't know what you'll think.
Is it vague?
It's a little vague. Hi, Anna. Thanks for sharing The Banshee of Clan Murtaugh with me. I really enjoyed it and would love for us to get a call to chat. Do you have any availability on Friday morning around 10 or 11 Eastern time?
Well, you were supposed to record a podcast.
I was a little busy recording a podcast, so I said I could not meet. Thank you very much.
I remember this one because I had to go find mine, and then we had to compare notes and stuff.
But, yeah, this is an offer.
This was for an offer call.
This was an offer.
Yeah.
I mean, I say it's vague because it could have been like an R&R on the call. Some agents will outright say, like, hey, I want to hop on a call to discuss representation, or they'll, like, offer you rep in the email. So this one was a little bit more vague, but it was an offer.
I will say mine, the subject was offer of representation. So, like, I knew immediately. Yeah.
Yep. Yours was, like, there's no questioning it at all.
Mine was vague like this, and then I wait 6 days for the result.
I would have died.
I was definitely perishing.
All right. Ivy, do you want to go next?
My turn?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So I just picked ones that were a little bit juicy.
Are we allowed
so
to
you can click into the first
Okay, the
one.
first one?
Yes, you can click into the first one. So this is my first rejection on a full. So I
Ugh.
started querying on like the Thursday, got the full I started querying on like the Friday, sent the full on the Saturday, and then by like Monday I had this rejection. So I'll read it out and you guys can spiral with me. So dear Ivy, thank you for allowing me to the opportunity to consider the manuscript for the Land of Undying Summer and for your patience while I did so. And I'm like, it was 2 days, but sure. I spent lots of time with this one over the long weekend because I was really excited about the concept. I loved your writing style, but I'm afraid I didn't really click with the world building the way I hoped to editorially. For this reason, I've decided to pass. Please know that my thoughts are entirely subjective, but I did want to offer my reasoning for stepping aside. I wish you every success in your search for an agent on this project and hope to see your work on shelves in the future.
Number one, I actually really do like, even though it's a rejection, I really do like the way that it was set up. I mean, it's just a straight rejection. Like, it sucks, but him not knowing how to like get you ready for sub, which is, I guess, me reading the tea leaves, right? Like, he wouldn't know how to help you, like, make it a little bit more immersive or whatever he felt was missing. It's a little bit vague, but yeah.
Yeah, I think this was a template where he personalized the second paragraph.
Yeah.
And what I mean, the third paragraph of it is very for me. The first paragraph, I'm like, okay, why is he thanking you for your patience when it was so fast?
Yeah, definitely a form.
Yeah.
But that is some nice personalization in there.
I definitely fixated on the world building editorially, and I'm like, is my world building bad? Oh my god, that was my big
But then the
fixation.
reason you got signed was because your world building was so good. So take that. And whether or not an agent has that vision where they're like, I know what changes I would make, basically.
Yep.
You were too perfect for him.
Okay, so moving on to my second one.
Can we click into the second one?
You can can click into all of them.
Because I already clicked.
So this one was an offer of rep nudge. So, hi Ivy, congratulations on the offer representation. That's wonderful news. I can absolutely understand the interest. I read these first pages and they sing. I'd love to read more. Please do forward me the full manuscript via email. Look forward to reading more.
I personally would be like, this girl is going to get back to me by my deadline. Let's see. It looks like she replied same day to your nudge, which I feel like is also really good. I just, like, going from my experience, I don't even know if did she even get back to you? Like, I don't know. I hope that she did because of...
He did respond.
Okay.
All my fulls for my offer nudges did respond, and I was able to answer Kira like a day early because I had all those. So it was a step aside on it, but a very complimentary step aside on the manuscript. It was just like, I don't think I love this enough when you have somebody lined up, which is a lot of what Anna's been getting.
That's what I was gonna guess, because I've had a lot of agents who are like, I need to read this, and then they're like, I read it, it was awesome, for someone else.
Not for me.
Yeah.
Not for me. It's
they
all about the vision,
allergic.
the spark. Yeah, allergic to money.
Yep. Yep. Oh, fingers crossed, frick. Okay, so next one, picture number 3. So this was on a nudge to a UK agent for having full manuscript requests. So hi Ivy, thanks so much for sending this my way and for the updates. I thought the immortality angle was interesting, but I'm afraid I didn't quite connect with the voice in the way that I'd hoped. So I'm going to step aside. Congratulations on the interest and best of luck with your publishing journey.
For me, this is just straight up taste. Like, it just didn't align with her personal, like, preferences.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a little bit of personalization in there, but in general, just like a very brief, polite step aside, which I've also had a bunch of those.
You can tell she actually, like, looked at it, though.
Exactly. It's always hard to tell, like, did the agent with a full, like, actually read the whole thing before requesting it? In most cases, I think no. I had a couple...
Yeah, this was on a query.
Oh, it was on a query. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like, she at least read the...
I mean, that's like a nice amount of personalization for a query rejection.
For a
pretty
UK
rare.
Mhm.
query rejection. Yeah.
Right?
Yes, especially. It's because I kept nudging them with the full request.
As you should. I did the same thing
Yep.
with this
Yep.
person.
Got it.
I even nudged UK agents with full requests after I got my offer. Like, I didn't, like, send them a separate email, but in my offer email, I would say, like, you know, I've got an offer of
Mhm.
representation. By the way, I also have X amount of full requests now. And then when I
Yep.
nudged them again, I would
Yep.
say, oh, by the way, I have even more full requests now. I don't know if it,
Yeah.
like, helps at all, but they ask for it.
Can't hurt.
It certainly can't
Yep.
hurt.
If they want the book, they want the book.
True.
All right. So second last one, the last 4 pictures are all one thing.
Okay.
Okay. So, hi Ivy, thank you so much for letting me consider your project, and I apologize for taking so long to get back to you. I just kept forgetting to actually reach out. I think this sounds really intriguing, and from the portion I read, your offer is well deserved, but this one just isn't for me. That said, I hope to hear of it selling in a great deal very soon. This was my last person I was chasing to get back to me on the full.
Ugh.
That
It really gets me with I just kept forgetting to reach out. Like,
yeah.
what?
And I also feel like she meant it to be super positive, but it doesn't actually hit me as a positive thing. Like, you weren't even interested enough to make a decision to reject it.
Yeah.
Like, it bothers me a little bit, but
I didn't like it.
Nope.
I didn't like it.
I mean, I think it's very, I don't think this is a form in any way. It's just a step aside from the offer. Yeah.
So my last 4 are all grouped together. You can open any of them that you want, but we're going to start with the first one in this group. So I just want to note who I am querying at this agency. So this is me doing a nudge because I received a full request. So I am nudging this UK agent, be like, hey, I have received another full request. It's under consideration by these agencies. Da, 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 da. The next image is the response I got to that email, and I would like us to note who it's from.
Oh.
Because it is not the agency.
What the heck?
So I got a
Oh.
response back, dear. So if you look at the last 2 images, I've popped who these people are. So I queried an associate agent, and I got a response, which I'll read in a second, from one of the agency directors.
Oh,
I thought it
that's
was going to be
interesting.
the other way around. Wow.
Right?
So maybe that associate passed it on to the director without telling you?
That's my thought.
Or she's on PTO, she is leaving the agency. Like, I don't know who this agent is, so, like, I don't have
See,
background.
I went back and I took that screenshot just now. She's still at that agency.
Huh.
So it's weird.
And it's not a shared inbox, right?
No, it's unique. If you look at the email from the first image, it specifically is agent name at agency.com.
Although,
Mentor?
So
couldn't it still be technically a shared inbox, but with email aliases? Because I have that at my work.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I work at a school.
I mean, that would be an issue with the school, yeah.
It potentially, it could be. I'm not sure. But it was, thank you so much for this kind update. I really appreciate it. Your writing is stunning, and I'm not surprised this is moving so quickly. I feel sure it will be an important book, the most vaguest. However, I don't think I'm the right person to champion your work at this present time, and so I will step aside from this conversation and wish you every deserved success for the road ahead. I'm like, well...
I think this is a forum.
I mean, super, super form, but also, like, maybe a mentor working with a mentee in their inbox in the
that was just one of the weirdest ones I had while querying, where I queried somebody else and got a response from somebody else. So I figured I'd include it.
Yep.
Because it was like, wait, what?
That's so funny.
Yeah. All right. Zilla's turn. Those are mine.
All right. So I'm gonna, because I have to be different. I'm gonna do things a little bit differently. I'm not gonna read the full thing. I'm gonna read like the first part of each email, and you're gonna tell me, is this leading to a rejection? Is it leading to a request? But first, I do want to read the form rejection that has now been changed by this agent, by the way. But one that would make a newbie spiral if they didn't know. Thank you for the opportunity to see your pages. Unfortunately, I don't feel I am the right agent for this project, so I'm passing. Just because I wasn't quite drawn in, however, doesn't mean there isn't another agent out there who will love it. I encourage you to rework your query so that the plot points, obstacles, and character attempts to overcome them are more clear. I wish you the best luck on your writing journey.
Yeah, I cannot believe that somebody has it as a form.
I mean,
like, that's... It's insane.
Not to, like, brag, but I'm gonna brag. Like, I had 14 requests at this point. full request. I knew that my query package was working, and I'm just like very frustrated that this was the form.
Yeah, I mean, consider like authors who don't have good writing communities or like don't know to check the query tracker comments, because like imagine if you got that and then you just started like scrapping your entire query letter. It's yeah, I think it's pretty irresponsible to put something so sweeping in a form rejection.
Absolutely.
It's spiral inducing.
Well, and I did spiral. I actually, and knowing that I had a good package, went to my CPs and was like, is this crap? Like,
yeah, anyway. 14 requests later, again, like,
it's crap.
It can get anyone. Everyone needs to rework their query.
Yes, okay.
Because I personally was not interested.
Yeah.
Bro.
So this
no.
next agent is a UK agent who is the head of her agency. She had previously requested the full, saying that she admired the pace and voice, blah, blah, blah. So this is the response, and I want you to tell me what happened from here. Hi Zilla, I really enjoyed reading this. I read the full manuscript in a couple of sittings. The voice is so striking and clean, and I admired the narrative pace. I've been thinking about it a lot. Blank.
Rejection.
I wasn't fully convinced by the central premise that she's in the game, blah, 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 plot points. I know a lot of the premise rests on this, but I've wondered if there's an alternative reason, plot points. I love the Hunger Games and feel like that will be a natural comp, but it's also a challenge because the world really needs differentiation, and I want to make sure I understand everything, but most importantly, the stakes. And then I'm going to say another blank for another, another blank. Where did this go?
Was this a revise and resubmit? That's way more detailed than I've ever gotten on a full rejection.
Yeah.
Yes, so
it just kept going, and I was like, oh yeah, that's gotta be.
So it was a revise and resubmit. We exchanged a few more emails, just like talking about the book, and yeah, so it was a really, really great experience with this agent. However, in the end, it wasn't quite differentiated enough for her, so she did end up passing. But again, love that agent so much. This is gonna be really short because I'm not gonna share all of it, obviously, but it's literally 2 lines. Okay. Thanks for this, Zilla. And my friend, you are on the same wavelength as the universe here, as blank. So, blank, you firmly have something. This is on a query.
On a query?
Personalized rejection?
I mean, that's like a very complimentary query, but I feel like it's... Or
it could be a request, yeah.
It could be a request. I don't know. I feel like they're buttering you up. I kind of think that when agents request, they're just like, give it to me now.
When they're too nice, it's
exactly.
Yeah.
Like if they don't lead with just asking for the book, I'm like, they're just rejecting. Because I got some ones like that for my first book.
I feel like for request, you can get 1 compliment and then book now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So here's the full email. Thanks for the Zilla, and my friend, you're on the same wavelength as the universe here, as I've got a project about 2 missing winners. Blah 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 plot
too
things.
Similar to what I already represent. So for that reason, I'll be stepping aside.
You firmly have something. I hope someone else nips this up while you're querying it around. So really, really lovely, and also really fast. This was next day, so within 24 hours. I was so excited because this guy has never replied to anything I've ever sent him before, but I really enjoyed that. Let's go to this one actually. All right, so this is a little bit more complex. This agent had my second book and took forever to reject it, said it was a little bit too dark for YA, it wasn't for her, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, she asked me to send her my next project, and I was like, actually, I just started querying my next project, but it is like an adult horror. I'm not sure if it fits your list. And she's like, send it to me anyway. So I did. And she literally responded within an hour saying, "Great first paragraph. Can't wait to dive in more." And then requested the next morning, so less than 12 hours. From there, she said, "Do you have a website and social media handles I can check out?" So from there,
Oh, I remember that.
she has my full. She has my social media. What happened?
I think I know what happened.
Sorry, yeah.
So you should just tell us.
Yeah.
So she actually ended up not doing anything until my offer nudge, and then she was the first person to respond saying, "I really don't have capacity right now to take on your edits."
Because she had just gotten an agency promotion, I think.
She had just gotten an agency promotion, and her intern had just gotten promoted. So she ended up stepping aside, and then I got an email 8 minutes later saying, "Oh, by the way, the intern that I read your manuscript with actually wants to throw her hat in the ring." So it ended up being an offer not from her, but from her intern that she would have been working with anyway. So that was kind of fun, but like, man, I was like, she asked for my socials, like that means something, right?
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
I remember we were all like spiraling over that. We were like, "Oh, it's coming! Like, offers coming any day." You just never know.
Okay, you ready for a crazy one?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna know who it is, obviously, but okay. So I had queried this agent who works at a great agency for horror, and I had multiple editor interests happening at the same time. Mm-hmm. So I nudged every time that you get an editor interest, right? So she asked a few questions about the editors. I replied to those. She said that she really liked those editors, yada yada yada. So she said, "Dear Zilla, thank you for the update. I've been waffling on this one just a little bit. I think the writing is well done, and I think leaning into a story about someone, plot point, hits at the heart for so many. Where I'm struggling here is the ending of this per the synopsis." This is on a query, by the way. "Doesn't leave me with a lot of hope. I get that a lot of horror doesn't, but for me personally, the world is terrible enough, and if I'm going to spend the time to read something, I want to feel hopeful for the characters at the end. Obviously, it's your book, you can do with it what you want, but if the heart of the story is personal growth and then the MC achieves it and is punished anyway, it doesn't really feel satisfying in my opinion. Of course, others could feel differently. I don't know, it might be something to think about." And then she goes into more plot points. "Not sure if this is something you are open to or not, hence the message and not a clear decision on this one yet. Let me know what you think." So I did end up with a couple more messages back and forth. I did end up doing 3 different endings on the synopsis only. I hadn't done work in the book with, ranging from more and more hopeful from my current ending. And she never replied. She started to comment on them and then stopped. And at this point, I'm on a retreat. I sent it to you guys to look at. It was absolutely wild. So because you know what happened and because you were very deeply invested in this, like I was, I finally nudged her on my offer. She said, "Congratulations. That's very exciting. Thank you for thinking of me, blah, blah, blah," and chatting extensively. She never requested the full. Ever, ever, ever. We'd been talking, going back and forth on this document. And she just stepped aside. Because she didn't want to read any of my endings. Yeah. So
this is how Zilla got her agent arch nemesis.
This is Zilla's villain origin story.
I was the only one that didn't include. Yeah, I was the only one that didn't include my agent arch nemesis in the
Do you want to talk about your arch nemesis now? Or wait until we're done with this one?
Let Zilla finish first.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I was going to say is, like, she's a legit agent. Like, she sells her books. She has great relationships with her clients. It's just that we 100% did not agree on the genre expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, which is surprising given the agency, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it still gets me how she made you do all of that work without actually requesting.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
All right, you want
I
to
gotta
talk
pull
about
up
your
my
yeah?
mercy.
Yes.
Yeah, briefly. Okay, so I queried this agent at the end of May. She was actually one of the first agents I queried. So I had written this off as a CNR. Oh my gosh, I gotta scroll past everything. And then on September 11th, she responded to me with, please send me the full when you have a chance. I sent her the full, and 16 hours later, she responded with, thanks for sharing, but I've decided to step aside. I wish you the best of luck with the project.
Cool.
On a full.
Great. Yep.
16 hours
Wow.
after I sent it. After waiting for like 4 months to request it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm like, yeah, arch nemesis. Arch
Was this before or after your offer?
I got my request from Kira the next day.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Oh, I remember because you were like ready to throw hands, and then like right after that it all started happening for you. So to all our listeners, when you meet your arch nemesis, you know your real agent is right around the corner. It's a rite of
Absolutely.
passage.
Sure.
It may take a couple of forms on fulls, but they'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yep.
We'll get there.
Okay, so this one y'all are just gonna know all of mine. But
Yeah.
dear Zilla, thank you so much for sending me this. I actually just sat and read the entire book in one go, so there is definitely something very readable and appealing to your story. The human dynamics are really painful and sad, and although I hate blank in books, I found myself hurting for characters as well as being angry at them. Cody, who's my main character, her transformation from a character I didn't love but was compelled to read about at the start to someone strong and compassionate by the end was wonderful, and those guys did not deserve her. However, as much as I did enjoy it, I'm going to pass. And she goes into like how market-wise she doesn't feel confident, and that she wished she was more scared.
I actually don't know who this is, but at least
Really?
you read the whole thing. That's like very
In-
detailed.
4 hours.
That's crazy.
4 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, I know agents can read fast, but that's nuts.
And she read the whole thing because she commented on the ending, which was
Mhm.
wild to me.
Mhm.
I thought this was an offer. I'm not gonna lie to you. When it came in 4 hours later,
reads
I was
like
like, it's
it.
an offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she had been updating you, like, even because I think she did a partial first or something.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I'm so excited for this one. Like, it was a really, really exciting.
It was 3 chapters.
Yeah, which, like, that's a partial. I know some request that off the bat, but that's a partial. But yeah, it was so fast. And then it was just like, but I didn't find it scary enough. And I was like, what?
Yep.
It's just, yeah, that was heartbreaking. I remember that.
I was not okay for like 24 hours, but it's fine. All right, I've got one last DM, which I don't like DMs if I'm being perfectly honest, but this agent had liked and commented on one of my pitches for my second book. Hi, let me know when you're ready and I'll send you a referral link, because I told her I was still working on it.
On your second book?
On my second book. And then that was September 26th. On September 27th, she sent me the link already. I had not responded. And said, if you're ready, eyes, eyes, eyes.
And this was September 2024, right?
Correct.
Yes.
And then September 28th, I said, yes, I'm doing a final sweep. Just want to make sure I put my best foot forward. Blah, 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 blah. She replied, can't wait to read. And I sent the full.
Well, I know who this is.
Yeah. This is your agent.
This
Yeah,
is my
I'm-
agent who never
thinking-
even read my second book.
She sat on it until she got the book she really wanted, which was your third book. And then she
Which
offered.
she also
Yeah,
sat
and
on.
then sat on that for a while.
Yeah.
So she
Hatched
for
it
a
like
while,
an
but
egg.
only a couple months, which is like not that long in terms of agents' time.
It felt like forever.
Yeah.
I will say,
I think it felt longer because of how long she sat on
Definitely.
your second.
so for over a year, she had my second book, the full version of it. And that included me pulling it for a month and a half to do that R&R from the other agent we talked
Yeah.
about. But meanwhile, she's signing people and signing people and signing people. But
Mhm.
like, girl, like, I knew you wanted me. You just needed to want me a little bit more. But yeah, that was my agent on my second book.
Arch nemesis turned agent. Sometimes it goes both ways. It's an enemies to lovers.
It was enemies to lovers. I have not told her yet, but I am planning on telling her.
I think she would find it funny.
I think she would
Yep.
too. Yep, that's all of them that I had.
At least you know she likes your writing style, though, because she requested multiple books from you.
Yeah.
I'm like low-key terrified that Kira's gonna hate my next book.
Kira's gonna love it.
There was another agent who requested every single book and has formed every single one of them. So
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
I can write, apparently. I just
Rude.
need to get the story right.
Yeah, you are the query queen, though.
Hence why you have so many examples.
Alright, well those were all of my show and tells for that.
Amazing. And so I feel like
Love it.
We can go from one tea right into the other now that we're done reading the tea leaves.
Yep.
Zilla's gonna spill
Now
the
we
tea.
have to spill it everywhere.
Or Ivy.
All right.
Are you doing the publishing tea?
Yep. All right. So mine is kind of an evergreen topic. This is one that we have complained about in the DMs a number of times because we see people acting badly in Discords and it drives us nuts. So my publishing tea of the day is authors who talk shitty about agents because they can't get rep for their book.
First of all, yeah, I mean, with Anna, like, my first gut reaction is, like, that's your mindset, like, you're never gonna make it. And the second gut reaction was, you said book and not books.
Haven't even started writing the second one, like...
I think we also need to talk about, like, appropriate avenues of, like, if you want to complain, because, like, querying is hard, we all need to vent sometimes, and so, like, if you need to get that out of your system, it's important to have a small emphasis on small group chat, like not private with only people you really know really well, and not like a big public forum or a really large Discord. Like those aren't really the places to be, you know,
unprofessional, because this is a career.
And for like the person we know who's really bad for this, I have seen them doing it in multiple servers. Constantly. And it's getting to the point where like somebody brings up an agent or like any agent or a rejection and they're just like absolutely pooping on them, and I'm like, if I was an agent I wouldn't want to work with you either, no matter if your book was actually good. Like, I don't want to work with somebody who thinks that I'm garbage and like looks down on me.
Well, the whole career, because it's not like
self-pub. If you don't want to work with an agent, like that's an avenue that you can do, and I guarantee you probably won't be able to sell your book because it's not good. I don't know. I really need people to look at their work critically and actually wonder, is this good? Because like sometimes it's just not good enough and you need to try again. Preferably with a new book.
And
Anna did it, and look at her.
I did. Yeah, I mean, I was getting nothing but forms for my first book, and I mean, I went into my whole first book process. I didn't really try to make it like the most queryable, to be honest. I mean, I did my due diligence with editing it and all that, but like I really just wanted to learn how to write a book. So when I was coming up with the concept, I wasn't really thinking too hard about making it high concept or whatever, and so I found that
feel free to go back to our episode on marketing concepts.
Exactly. So I was getting rejections, and I kind of instantly was like, all right, I need to come to terms with like this isn't the book, which I already kind of knew. And I fueled all my rejections into me writing the next book, which got me my offer of rep. But also, like, I think going back to our discussion about critiques, I think this is, like, a pitfall that people can fall into if they're only receiving positivity passes. Because, again, like, there's a place for that. It can be so helpful, especially if you're, like, really in the weeds with editing. But, like, you really need to get critique in order to improve. We all have blind spots as writers, no matter how long you've been writing, but especially if you're newer and especially if you're like looking for an agent for the first time. Because the competition is so high in the trenches, you really need to be able to put your best foot forward. And that's so much
in the trenches on sub, like it just every time it levels up and your competition gets better.
Absolutely.
Like,
and I think I just want to double down on the fact that like most of these Discords are professional spaces. It's not just like a hangout with your friends. Like we're joining, and maybe I shouldn't be speaking for everyone. But I can definitely speak for me. Like I'm joining these Discords to almost like network. I want to get to know other writers. I want to kind of bounce things off of other people who are trying to level up, if we can use that phrase. It's why that, you know, I get along so well with you two, because you have similar goals and you understand the fact that you can't just badmouth people in this very, very small industry and get ahead.
Yep, because agents have their own whisper networks too. So like if you're a rabble rouser, word will get around that you're hard to work with.
Rabble rouser.
Yeah, but also I think like It's totally okay for writing to be a hobby. It starts that way for most of us, I think, but you have to acknowledge that when you start querying, you're stepping out of the hobby space and you're making it professional, and it's no longer just about like having fun. I mean, of course, we hope fun is part of it. That's why we write, but you're working with industry professionals whose job it is to sell your book. So like, be professional.
Don't waste their time.
Yeah, don't waste their time. You know, make your book good so that they want to read it and that you're not an instant rejection. Like, again, back to reading the tea leaves, if all you're getting are forms and really fast rejections and you're not having any agents kind of like skip you and sit on your query, that's a sign that something's not working, if that's all that you're getting. But I do see a lot of, not a lot, but like enough people kind of complaining about agents in a way where it's like, wow, they don't recognize my talent. How can they even know what books can be sold? Like, basically implying that agents are...
You're a salesperson. Your job is to sell my book.
Exactly. And to me, that's kind of like, it's, if you don't trust agents to sell your book, why are you querying them? You know, if you truly think that the best person to sell your book is yourself, then go self-publish.
It also makes me wonder if they really have a feel in the market, because if that book is not a marketable concept, or if agents really don't care enough to put in any kind of personalization, or they're not requesting, like, it's just, it makes me wonder, like, what kind of work you've put into yourself to grow, and like, you do need to just look in a mirror.
Yeah, and they're always the same person that have like a bunch of excuses. So it's never just like, oh, well, agents are bad salespeople, blah, 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 blah. It's also like, they don't want me because I'm not romanticy.
Or because I'm a straight white woman and everyone wants diversity, and, you know, that kind of bad faith thing that you see.
Yeah, oh, God.
Or they're jumping on the horror bandwagon. Like, you have to understand the genre. You just do. You can't, like, write a thriller, put in some scary parts, and hope for the best.
You really need to be immersed in a genre, and it's the same thing with like fantasy. It's like, if you don't read fantasy, you don't understand the nuance of fantasy, and people aren't gonna buy into what you're doing. Same thing with horror. I wouldn't write it, like, I write dark-ish fantasy, but I don't write horror. Like, I can read horror, but like, I don't read it very often, so I wouldn't write it.
Well, and the trends, like, you don't, like, you know romantasy trends right now. I have no idea what romantasy trends are right now because I don't read it. I don't read current books that are coming out in my genre. I'm sorry, that was me saying it as a fantasy writer, like, but what I can say is we have, I'm holding up this gorgeous book right now. You guys obviously can't see it, but
it's so pink.
It's like a Barbie pink book. It's Dollface by Lindy Ryan, and I just got it in the mail. It just released. And it's not like your typical, like, scary haunted house horror. This is, like, about a PTA serial killer, and it's, you know, like, it's bubblegum horror, which is super big right now. But if you don't keep up with those trends, then why are you the right person to get picked up by an agent if you're not keeping up with that? Now, I'm not saying go write a bubblegum horror book, because by the time you do it, it's going to be gone. But you really just have to watch things coming.
And I think when you're talking about market trends like that, it's, you almost need to be on what's selling rather than what is releasing, because it's on a 2-year delay. So, like, keeping an eye on kind of, like, get the publisher's weekly
newsletter.
Like, there's a free one that comes out with some deals and stuff. Keep an eye on authors and what they're putting out, what's selling, all that sort of stuff.
Even noticing, like, what kinds of projects are getting picked up by agents, because that's, like, your more immediate thing. There's, like, what movies are coming out. There's so many kind of cues you can look at. But on, like, a slightly different subject, I wanted to talk about just, like, the sense of entitlement that I think is a trap some writers fall into, and it's, like, exemplified by this behavior we've been talking about, which is, I think when you're a beginning writer, there's so much content out there that's aimed at encouraging people to write, which is great and very well intentioned, and it's a lot of, like, you know, only 1% of people who say they're going to write a book actually finish it, so good job for writing a book. And the reality is, once you start querying, you have to get your head around the fact that just because you wrote a book and, like, you technically did all the things does not entitle you to have an agent or have a book deal. There are way more books that can ever be published, and that includes books that are like someone's first draft that was never edited, but it also includes books that like have gone through developmental edits, have been beta read, have all the plot points that you would want, have technically proficient prose, and that's not enough.
Have gone to second reads but didn't get that deal.
Have had mentorships, have had previous representation, have won short story contests. Like, there's so many qualified people who are querying books that not everyone is going to get picked up and not everyone's going to have a book deal, so you really need to do the work to stand out.
Let me be a little bit more divisive. Not everyone will make it or deserves to make it.
Publishing is a funnel, and you have to keep getting good to go to the next level. Like, honestly, like, I don't know if Undying Summer is going to be the one that gets me a book deal, because, like, I think it's well written, but I don't think it's hooky enough. And so it's a little bit the same thing that, like, Anna had for her first book, where it's not necessarily quite as attention grabbing in terms of pitch. So when I went for my second book, I tried to actively rectify that. So, like, I don't know if it's on submission. I don't know if it's going to get picked up. I would love for it to get picked up, but, like, I don't know if it will. Whereas I think Sculptor, my next book, has a little bit more of that hookiness and kind of like thumb on market trends that will hopefully result in a better thing.
Yeah, you really never know. And like, once you get to a certain level of having a strong project, like, there's great books that die in the query trenches, there's great books that die on submission, great authors that have a debut and then never any other book deals. But like, really the only way that you can make sure that you don't succeed is if you stop, or if you aren't trying to level up. So like, if you keep going, if you keep writing the next thing and keep trying to find ways to improve with everything that you write, like, you'll find success. Who knows how long it will take, but you will.
Everything is a combination of, like, skill, I think, a marketable premise, and also, like, a whole bucket full of luck. Like, it's timing, it's luck. The only part of that you can control as the author is what you are putting out and making sure it is as good as it can possibly be. And I think part of working in the professional book space is just acknowledging that sometimes it's not going to happen, move the fuck on, quite frankly, and write the next book.
Yeah.
Take what you learned and write something new.
And be a reader. Like, understand what people like.
Yeah.
And make something that is, like, exactly what people like. Easy. Bam. Done. Obviously not that easy, but, like, you need to have your finger on the pulse and, like, you know how to make something that's desirable.
What is actually selling right now.
And piggybacking off of what Ivy said, the only thing that you have control over is you and your work. And so, again, I'm going to shout out literally every episode, but Turning to Story podcast, they're so good about breaking down, like, the elements that you need to write a good book. Whereas I think we talk a little bit more about the experiences that we have. But honestly, you kind of need to have both when you're going into this career line. You need to prepare yourself for the experiences that can happen, that will happen, that won't happen. But you also need to, again, level up, know how to write a compelling story, and you know, take that critique and figure out what to do with it, because you can't just be perfect all the time, because nobody is, no book is.
Yeah, and it almost brings us, like, full circle to the beginning of the episode, is you need to actually get good critique.
Yep. And one more note on Turning to Story, because, like Zilla, absolutely love that podcast. The co-hosts are both not only agented authors, but they've sold books, and there's still, like, the whole point of that podcast is figuring out how to level up all the time, because that's all that you can control in publishing. So it truly does not stop once you get an agent or once you sell a book. Always improving.
Oh, love them for that. Goals.
I don't know why you'd want to stagnate. Like, I don't know. You're always learning and doing things, as long as you're actually putting yourself out there and thinking about your craft. So, like, yeah, I want to keep getting better, obviously.
Yeah. I want to have more book sales. I want to reach number 1 on this list, you know, even though that's a whole other topic in itself. But yeah, there needs to be a little bit of ambition. It's not just, I'm passionate, I'm a creative, I create. It's you have to have that business mind too.
Absolutely. All right. Any other thoughts on our tea for the day?
Oh, I just love it. And I also hate it because I try to insert myself.
It's frustrating to watch.
I tend to not watch more than I watch, unfortunately, because I want people to have correct information in this industry, because I feel like there is a lot of non-transparency happening, and that doesn't always work out well.
I know the three of us have kind of stepped back from some writer groups because of the amount of smoke blowing we were seeing and the amount of, again, just like blaming the industry as a whole rather than just accepting like, you're not going to change it no matter how much you complain about it. So either adjust to it and adjust your behavior and what you're putting out, or shut up. Frankly, like, you're not going to complain about the fact that people aren't publishing pulp books from the 70s anymore and actually change anything that's happening in publishing. Like, adjust or get out.
Or get better and bring pulp books back.
Seriously, I mean, I would love that. I love pulp. If you're a new writer and you're like new with querying or newly finding your community, I think it's just really important to pay attention to the vibes of any space that you're in, and like find the space where the vibes are good, where people are like working towards a similar goal as you, and like, you know, actually working towards it, and, you know, putting out the energy of trying to improve. That will get you places.
And sometimes you got to cherry pick them and make it yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think that brings us to the end of our episode for today. So next week we will be going into episode 6, vague posting. Zilla, that is yours.
I cannot wait.
So we're going to talk about vague posting, professionalism, social media, author brand, all these sorts of things. We're going to kind of talk about just social media and vague posting as a part of that, but vague posting is one of the most fun. And Anna will be out of her vague period.
Yes.
Hopefully you'll have like a contract signed so you can actually announce by then. But yeah, we'll talk about it. It'll be fun, and different approaches we can have to vague posting. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We were happy to have you, and we will see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.